All right, there it is. Welcome back. You're getting real with the realest man in talk radio. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to opine about the MARTA situation, you can call them at 404-848-5000, 404-848-5000. I do know that they sponsor us. I don't care. 404-848-5000. 404-892-2703 get you in this conversation. All right, let's get right into it. I got two of my best friends in the studio, great lawmakers. I call her affectionately Madam Chair. Representative Dee Haigler, Chair of the Georgia Legislative Black Caucus. Madam Chair, how are you?
I am wonderful. Good morning. No, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon.
It's been a long day.
It's been a long day already. Yes,
all right.
Already.
I have good friend, no stranger to WAOK, Representative Roger Bruce. I just call him Roger. That's
and I've been called worse than that. So it's okay.
You have, sir. How you doing, man?
I'm doing super fantastic, and I hope you are too.
All right, always good to see both of you guys. All right, let's get into the issue of lawmaking. Callers, I see you, and I will come to you. Going into the second week of session, am I right? Second week.
Correct.
Crazy stuff already happened. I just assumed. They're looking at me like, what crazy stuff? You work with Republicans. Obviously, crazy stuff is happening.
Crazy stuff is always on the horizon.
It's coming.
What are some of the things we need to look out for?
Well, they're going to bring back I think it's two bills already that have been introduced that will bring back this issue about the religious freedom, so-called religious freedom.
Tell the listeners about this idiotic piece of legislation.
Well, basically what it does, it makes the state a partner if it passes in discriminating against people based on their sexual preference. And it also opens up the door for it to be able to discriminate on the basis of all kinds of things. So if you own a restaurant, let's say, and your religion says that you're not supposed to be around people that are gay or lesbian.
Or black.
Or whatever, short, whatever the case may be, that you will be able to say that my religion prohibits it, so you can't come into my restaurant.
And the state of Georgia will co-sign your discriminatory action.
If that bill passes.
If it passes.
Yeah. They don't realize we already have religious liberty. That's kind of the foundation of this country.
Well, what they're talking about is not even religious liberty. It's basically persecution of individuals based on their sexual orientation. And so I just think it's disingenuous to even call it a religious freedom bill.
It's kind of like what they do with everything else. They call it exactly what it's not.
Yeah, they give it a nickname and everybody signs into it. Mm-hmm. Kind of the same thing that they're doing, with the education.
Right, opportunity school districts, yeah.
And the way it's written, it says, do you want the state to take over failing schools and make them better? Who's going to say no to that?
Right, that's very misleading. Right.
And that bill is really just who gets to divide up all the billions of dollars to go into education. That's what that is.
Yeah, tremendous. All right, what are some of the things we need to pay attention to, truly?
Well, one of the things I really want everyone to pay attention to is the bill that Representative Allen Peake has sponsored again this year. It expands Haley's Hope. It basically is trying to allow Georgia to grow medical cannabis.
Let's get that weed, cuz.
Yes, and so we have many people who have signed on to the bill, but we do have some hesitation, some pause, and even though I am the sixth signer on the bill, it does not allocate any provisions for minorities to be part of the growing business.
We need to mandate that. Got to mandate it.
It needs to be a part of the legislation. If we're going to do that, we need to make sure that everyone in the state of Georgia has an opportunity, including those people of color, those of us who are minorities. And when I say minorities, I specifically mean African Americans and Hispanic people are able to participate.
All right, so the pushback. The pushback is going to say we cannot mandate quotas. What do you say to that?
I say that is not necessarily true. We say we do what we want to do. The federal government already has a mandate for contracts, which is 14%. The state of Georgia, who receives so many federal dollars, doesn't even do that. We're less than 2% in the state of making sure that we do right on that promise. And so we can mandate that they do that. It's just a matter of the legislature having the goodwill and the good conscience to do what is just and right.
So the federal government has a 14% mandate. If you get federal dollars, 14% of your business contracts should go to minority business.
Correct.
Right? They don't do it. In the state of Georgia, it's only at 2%. Why is it that the federal government does not penalize the state of Georgia?
Well, we're working on that right now. It's not that we want them to penalize the state of Georgia. We just want Georgia to do better and to recognize that African Americans make up this state. We're taxpayers. We are 30%, 3 million people strong in the state of Georgia, and therefore we need to do right. They need to do better.
Yeah, it's not really a rule if you break it and there's no repercussion.
Yeah. And on that same subject, House Bill 712, which is a bill that I'm sponsoring, does exactly what she said. The intent of the bill is to look at all of the purchasing that's done by the state and come up with a formula to make sure that African American businesses, black businesses, women-owned businesses, everybody, based on the population, gets some opportunity to participate. That bill is being introduced now by myself and others to get that going.
Tremendous. I really think that the focus, and you guys have it right, the focus should be on minority business participation. Something that I know you guys have been echoing for a long time, and I think the general public is beginning to see the true benefit of having that happen within the community.
Yeah, it's important. If you look at the economy in the state of Georgia, most of it's made up of small businesses. Mm-hmm. And if we don't do things to cultivate and nurture the small business community, that's the basis for our economy. And if we want to improve it, we have to make it better.
Not to mention, it's just the right thing to do. When you have 30% of your population who contributes $84 billion of spending power per year into your economy, it's just the right thing to do.
Yeah. All right. So what are the other issues outside of the economy that you guys are dealing with?
Well, we touched on a little bit just now, opportunity school districts. Mm-hmm. I don't know if people are really aware that piece of legislation is coming down on the ballot in November. So we're trying to get the word out so people will be aware that it is trickery at its best, that particular piece of legislation. And also one thing that we're working on in the Black Caucus, another piece that will be on the November ballot is human trafficking and the safe harbor provision to make sure that safe harbors are provided for in our state budget with a line item. And so many people don't realize that in the state of Georgia, it is becoming a hotbed for human sex trafficking. We are one of the top in the nation and in the world because of the Hartsville International Airport, because of conventions that come to town, because of major sports teams that are present, and then a lot of businessmen who just like being with young girls. That human trafficking is really growing at astronomical numbers here in the state of Georgia.
Yeah, we reported on this about 2 years ago that the FBI considered the city of Atlanta to be number one in the human sex trafficking business. And we have not really fallen from that number one status. And I've been able, in my position, to influence sheriffs and law enforcement to not quickly criminalize women who they find in these situations. Because if they were kidnapped at 14 and they're still prostituting at 18, they shouldn't be in somebody's prison.
Correct. And that's part of the provision. We passed Senate Bill 8, which Senate Bill 7 or 8, because one is the resolution, one is the bill, which would kind of decriminalize the situation even more. We've been doing it each year. We've been trying to introduce legislation that the women who are the young men, because I want y'all to know that 30% of the sex trafficking business are young boys that are being pulled into it.
30%?
30%.
Wow.
Yes.
Tremendous.
And
30%.
So it's 30%. So our young boys are just as much in trouble as the young girls. And so we're going to keep on working on this legislation to make sure that we do something about it, because you cannot have the number one place state to do business and you still have such a high number of trafficking.
Yeah, but that's probably why. It's the number one place to, never mind. 404-892-2703. All right, we're going to come back on the other side of the break. Callers, I see you. If you have questions for Madam Chair, Representative Dee Haigler, or Representative Roger Bruce, go ahead and get those questions ready. We're going to close out with them on the show. You're getting real with the realest man in the game.
Something that I just found out this morning on that subject is that you have...
Y'all want to proper stop?